Welcome to Duality Check, the podcast where two brothers embark on a journey through the realms of scientific inquiry, the mysteries of the past, and the uncharted frontiers of spirituality. Join us as we explore the wonders of our world and beyond, all while embracing the roles of curious bystanders rather than experts. Together, we'll unravel the tapestry of existence, blending the dichotomies of knowledge and wonder. Get ready to question, ponder, and delve into the dualities that shape our understanding of reality on Duality Check. I'm Drew.
And I'm Dean, and welcome to episode 80 again.
Yeah. If you haven't noticed,
we missed an upload.
Missed a week. We had computer power issues one time, and then somehow
I screwed up the way our audio routing setup was, and so our last episode, which I thought was one of my really favorites. Good. I thought we had a really great conversation.
Yeah.
But we got all the intro music, all the music bits came through, but no microphone audio, and it was just because of how.
Yeah. So if we had posted, you'd just be sitting there watching us mime. The entire episode.
Yeah. Someone was like, "Hey, could you get an AI to read your lips?" And I was like, "I don't know if something like that exists, but it probably sucks, and I'm not going to spend a month figuring it out."
That would have been hilarious to just if we weren't willing to just record it, just to throw it out there as a joke, be like, "Sorry guys."
We could have actually thrown up a clip and be like, our silent podcast will not be coming out this week.
We should have. We're not good on social media. We need a person.
Yeah, totally. I was talking to Dad about it and told him the whole story. And he's like, you should just record your voices over the video. So it'll be one of those, Japanese dubs.
Oh, yeah.
I challenge you.
That will be funny, actually. It's good advice, Dad. Next time we'll do something similar. If we mess it up again, if we fumble it again, we'll do something funny and we'll post it for people to see.
Dude, we checked and checked and checked, and we actually changed the setup and made it a little better. Yeah. So now I should have a little more editing ability, like I used to before we did video, to fix coughs and stuff like that. Or if Drew has another hiccup fit one day.
Never again.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't actually check. Did we get any messages?
Good question. Well, we didn't post last week, so probably not.
Yeah.
Except for Amy telling us we should use AI to fix it.
And she's like, you guys are really messing up my Tuesday schedule here.
Yeah, she likes to go on an early morning walk with her dog and then listen to the podcast, and then she usually emails us or writes us a text late morning or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually did. It's not like a message. Joel has been. He's like, Dean, I keep trying to send you stuff on Facebook.
Oh, has he been trying?
I was like, sorry, dude, I don't.
Oh, you personally?
Yeah. But it's stuff about these topics and stuff. Okay. So I was like,
he doesn't send it to me. I'm on Facebook. Hit me up, Joel.
Yeah, I was like, so if
I think he sent me some stuff. But
I was like, if you want to send me something, get whatever you want to send me and just text me the link. I'll actually see it. That's the way to do it. I have a few friends that are like that too, where they won't check their social media, but they go on it themselves, but they don't check their messages or something. Right.
So we share clips via text instead of through the app itself.
Right. So when I do go on Facebook, I'm usually going on just to check for messages for the show, and I'm ignoring my own account. So I'm terrible at social media.
Just send it to our Duality Check
That's
channel.
True. Yeah.
Joel, that'll be the easiest because we both check that.
That's true. If you're listening to this, cool. Otherwise, I'll text you and let you know. But anyway, he sent us this, and it's not feel like it's just a nice, succinct, almost could be like a trailer for a podcast like ours or something, where it's like essentially asking questions. Well, it's just like pointing out that, hey, there's a lot of mystery around, kind of thing.
Right.
And
Open your eyes to it, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I just want to share this real quick. So let's check this out.
We got a
browser. There we go.
Do apes still exist? If Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon, who took the famous photo of him stepping onto it? NASA, one of the most advanced space agencies, somehow lost the original recordings of the moon landing. Lost them. One of humanity's greatest achievements, gone. How?
What is happening? Sorry, guys. I full screen this and it looks super weird on OBS. Here, let me play it now.
How? And if walking on the moon was so easy in 1969, why haven't we gone back? Why did 56 countries, rivals, enemies, superpowers, all agree to one thing? That no one can freely explore Antarctica. What's there? What are they hiding? How did ancient civilizations without modern tools build structures so perfect they still can't be replicated today? Why do Egyptian artifacts show images that look like spacecraft? Why do dragons appear in every ancient culture, across every continent, and even in the Bible? Coincidence? And why is there a connection between the pineal gland, the so-called third eye, and the pine cone symbols found in ancient Egyptian art? Why is the entertainment industry obsessed with symbols linked to demons, secret societies, and occult rituals? And in a world so advanced, so intelligent, so scientific, why are we sicker, sadder, and more controlled than ever before? Ask yourself, question everything, and if you think you know the answer, prove it. If humans evolve...
Yeah, interesting.
Welcome to Duality Check. That's our intro.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, there's some stuff I would like add or tweak on that for like not all of those ones necessarily speak to me in the same way, but
it sounds like you asked a question to an AI and that's the prompt it gave you, and then you created this video around it, and maybe you know, and then you got the AI to reread it back to you. You tweaked it, right, and then you have it read it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that sounded like.
But some of these were good. Like, I liked the. I never really considered like the photo or the video of Neil Armstrong walking on the moon. Like, how did they like?
It was like, so what I'm imagining.
It was like supposed to be a staged event or what? Like they go out and they mount the camera and then they go back in and then they disembark again. Or did they just like have an arm off the lander with a camera?
Right.
Like, but it looked like it was a pretty wide shot if I recall. Anyway.
Yeah, so obviously that's the explanation you would get. But like it's still up for thought. Like if he was the first one and they hadn't been there before, or they hadn't been there longer, or if it wasn't staged or or if it wasn't like completely fake in the first place, where it's just like him in a soundstage, you know?
I think part of why he sent this to me is because we've been talking about, bring us back on.
Hello.
As we've been talking about Antarctica a lot and like all the weird stuff. There's an episode like that needs to come at some point.
Antarctica.
There's a lot of weird stuff. There's what was that project? What was that operation? High jump?
Yeah, the one where the admiral went down to Antarctica.
Yeah, like they took not just the admiral.
Well, I know he took a whole
force.
battalion or something. Yeah, whole
and
like
then
naval
they came
battalion.
back like way ahead of schedule with like a bunch of injuries and
stories and stuff.
Yeah,
I know Y-Files did an episode on this, and he had at the end talked about how like the story had come from a so-called journal that his kid years later, or his grandkid years later had surfaced with, but it was supposedly like it was fake, and he had gone to Antarctica.
Well, You're talking about the one where Admiral Byrd, like supposedly flew his plane into the inner Earth type thing.
Yeah, he had flown as far south as you can go, and then he ended up in like a oasis within,
with like dinosaurs and Nazi UFOs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that has been shown to be probably fabricated, but I think it's just comes out of, I forget the source on that, but that
he did go to the Arctic, not Antarctica, but he actually went to the Arctic. It's a recorded like mission that he had done,
and then later he was the one that led Operation High Jump to the Antarctic, which did take a big group of like
right. But he, in the Arctic, in the story of him going to the Arctic, he did go missing, and he was in a plane that should have only had enough fuel for like an hour trip or 2 hour like trip, and he had gone missing for like 4 or 5 hours, and then showed up back up randomly and was still able to fly and land, which is crazy. Like there may have been some sort of time slip or something happened to him. Yeah.
Anyway, there's weird stuff. Even if like the ultimate weird stuff, like the weirdest of the weird stuff, maybe a lot of that might be debunked, but that doesn't mean like there's still not weird stuff.
Absolutely, there's a lot of weird stuff.
Also, there's a lot of secret bases in Antarctica.
There's a lot of countries that have bases there, but you're not like they said there is a treaty where they're not able to settle.
But there's secret bases there. So do you remember? I think we talked about this way back in one of our early episodes. There was this time where Fitbit they were doing like a promotional campaign, and so what they did was they created a world map of all the user data in the world, just to show like Fitbit's moving all over the world, and like supposed to be just part of like, oh, look how awesome Fitbit is, and
how
like,
worldwide we are.
Look at how much we all travel, right?
Yeah,
and look at the people all over the world working out. But it ended up revealing a bunch of top secret, like military people who had Fitbits would be like in secret bases underground, like they would be like running loops around the underground base, and you would see all these people in movement in a weird the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like giving up the locations of secret bases.
No way. I don't remember talking about this.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And some of them were in Antarctica.
In like some sort of
where base. There is apparently nothing. Like
Yeah. Wearing Fitbits. The aliens are wearing Fitbits in Antarctica.
So they're like, it revealed some like underground bases all over the world, including in Antarctica, which I thought was super cool. That is cool. It's pretty funny.
I don't remember hearing that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we talked about it at some point, and
maybe you referenced it because I don't remember that story.
I'll see if I can find the link. Like the actual map was floating around for quite a while. I don't know if it got censored off the internet or not, but they definitely censored it off their website, but I think people made backups and stuff and took images.
Yeah, took screenshots of it.
But it revealed a bunch of bases in like Afghanistan and the Middle East and stuff too. Wow. That were supposed to be secret.
Yeah. I'm sure the military probably stopped using Fitbit after that.
Yeah, it was a big privacy.
They're using Garmin now.
Big security breach. Cool. And then Jesse Michaels did a really interesting and fun podcast recently. He invited on Jay Anderson of Project Unity and Kurt Metzger, who is just freaking
wild, bro.
Dude, he's such a wild conspiracy theorist, and he's so fun. But anyway, there's this one part of the conversation which I hadn't really heard people talk about before. And I thought it would be fun to check this little segment out.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, Mormonism, Lord of the Rings, bunch of stories. You hear the themes over and over.
Yeah, same
campfire stories.
Yeah.
The theme is Atlantis over and over.
Yeah.
And thank you, dog journalist. Metaphorical overlay. I got that word from him. I didn't make that up. It's a metaphorical overlay. Once you realize that principle of a metaphorical overlay, then you go, I've heard this story before. Like I'm Sam the Tall Whites. Oh, this sounds like some racists came to an island and we're like a cargo cult that tries to make the same planes out of wood. But I got news for you. I think they have all those metamaterials now. Mm-hmm. The helium-3 and the Bob Lazar Moscovium-113, because I text you about it. They made that in a particle collider in Russia.
What do you?
That's what CERN is. How much metamaterial could I get out of
Jesse's like,
or the 30,000 one?
You know something wild about CERN, right?
They're not opening portals. They're making
well, you know what's interesting about that? Because I mean, like, obviously, like everyone's making theories about CERN and like you know what's going on there. But there was that woman who
Astrid Stuckelberger.
Yeah, man, and she's got a hell of a resume.
She has a really impressive. She's kind of like a public health policy expert, but sits on all these interesting boards. And she's in an interview, and she goes, "Physicists from CERN are telling me that beings are coming out of interdimensional portals at CERN."
There are lots of physicians. I know some. They're doing very strange experimentation. There are beings from portals coming in and out. It's physicists from the CERN who told me this.
They've testified to beings coming in and out of portals.
Yes.
So this is what's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy.
yeah,
What?
that's so cool.
I remember hearing this during the podcast, but
Yeah, that was the first time I've ever heard of that. And so I go and I searched the lady, and she's got a bunch of like TED Talks and like speeches all about like medical stuff, like he said.
Yeah.
That's her specialty.
Right.
But yeah, she
But she's got
brought this up on
physicists
one
at CERN
interview.
confiding, like telling her stories.
And I believe she has like since like either denied or like not talked about it really, but
oh, really? Yeah, she got pressure. They were like, "Hey, yo, I told you that in confidence."
it's pretty crazy. So it's obviously super hearsay. It's not even first person testimony, right?
Which most of this stuff is never going to be. But
Sure.
a lot of we're getting some, but you know.
But it kind of makes you think, like,
yeah,
what, like,
it just makes you think like they talk about it a bunch in this too, like the whole like Montauk project and like all these like really like outside the realm of accepted thought of just like what's going on Earth and like what our true knowledge is at the top, right?
Right.
The people who are controlling and top down disseminating the information that they're finding out. Like if these are top scientists under NDAs being controlled by the governments of the world and they're discovering these things, like what's the odds, just like with aliens, what's the odds that they're just going to compartmentalize and deny everything and keep it all under wraps
especially
forever?
because this is part of high energy physics, and which Jesse has done such a good job covering the history of how similar, like high energy physics basically branched back when the nuclear bomb was invented.
Right.
And there's whole sections of it that are classified. And
for national security.
Since then, it has kind of been standard that if you're a physicist working in those fields,
Keep your mouth shut.
you are used to dealing with things that you can and can't say because there are things that are state secrets. Right. I'm just saying that it wouldn't necessarily be out of the realm of possibility for those same types of physicists to kind of keep other stuff that they're discovering secret because they're already working within a framework that is forcing them to do so.
But then they meet a pretty good looking older doctor, and they are over having drinks and they're telling her stuff.
Yeah.
It's
kind of like Project Veritas, right? What's his name that runs that? I forget his name. But he gets women to take these men, like high power CEOs and stuff, out on dates
and just learn as much as
drop
they can.
their guard and records them talking. And that, like, we got a bunch of leaks about like COVID. We got a bunch of leaks about, there's been leaks about really important stuff through that project. But
I guarantee that's happening at the highest levels.
I mean, it's the same idea of like espionage in general, right?
Yeah.
Like it's people will drop their guard in certain situations. So yeah, it's believable that someone could slip some information they're not supposed to slip, but how do you then like
verify it?
What do you do with that? How do you piece it back together? Like, how do you put it in a context? How do you make any sort of sense of it?
Yeah,
how
or
do you
even verify it,
right?
But putting it out into the ether and letting people mold over it is still fun. So I like that. And
totally.
I just wish that, like, there's got to be more people that I mean, we've covered some of them. Harold Malmgren being one of them, where people are getting close to their death, and they're like, "Hey, like I've been living with this forever. I need to get it off my chest." And I hope we get more and more of that, especially as the internet age grows. Exactly. Yeah. Even this alien interview book we're covering.
Like, even if it's going to be in these like unprovable forms, like this book, it's still.
And then eventually, if we get the footage that verifies some of the information we read in these stories, then you're, like we've talked about before, you're more open-minded to the fact that these things could be real, whether or not you believe every story you hear or you believe every conspiracy theory that you've ever listened to.
Right.
It opens your third eye, your pineal gland, to the possibilities that the world is not how we are interfacing with it right now, and that there are other possibilities, and proven in a proven fashion with other beings, other living creatures on our planet see the world completely different than we do. Mm-hmm. So what's to say there's not another layer?
Right.
We know there's more layers.
Yeah, but that's so open-ended because that could go any direction.
Yeah, until we start actually getting some information and something that we can cross-reference and check out and verify for ourselves and slowly open our eyes to it. And then, eventually with enough information, like we've talked about before, there's going to be a flip. There's going to be that point of no return.
Yeah, like for instance,
the singularity.
If things start moving with disclosure at some point, and then some information comes out through a different source later talking about a single survivor at Roswell named Airl. All of a sudden, now the context of this book becomes a little more valid.
Yeah, and then you stack on top of that social norms like the trust in governments and these other things that will tear down the barriers even further.
Mm-hmm.
COVID was a big thing, and a lot of the stuff going on recently are a big thing that's like giving people a lot of pause when it comes to like all this government conspiracies and stuff and their truthfulness.
Sure. All right. Well, let's move on here. I want to get to this book as quick as possible because we got a lot to go over. But you brought this.
Yeah, some fun stuff. I don't know if we've talked about the Avatar Last Airbender on the show before.
Dude, one of our favorite
love it.
Animated shows ever. I think it's probably my favorite for sure.
It's definitely my favorite.
So
we've got prepared I prepared a couple of clips from this guy, account Elka Gaming, and I seen this years ago, like probably close to 10 years ago now.
Yeah, so this is a project. So
they've been working on for
if you've been a fan of the Avatar universe, one thing you know about it is there's been a lot of failed projects. There's a movie we don't speak of, and there's been a whole bunch of video games that have kind of been crap over the years. Yeah. So the best we've had is the comics and like
some novels.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is a fan who started off anyway. I thought at some point he moved off of Dreams, but he started using a platform on the PlayStation called Dreams, which is a game on the PlayStation that lets you make your own games.
Yep.
So you can model 3D objects, you can write music, you can set up code to make things interactive, and you can literally create
a game within a game. Yeah.
And he basically did one of the best jobs at better than a lot of professional games. But the game it's something he's been working on as a single individual for years and years and years. And he's been adding to the level of detail and creating moments from the show.
He's got a team now, though.
He's got physics. Yeah.
He's grown enough now, and there's enough interest in it. And especially with monetizing
which is what makes me think they moved off of Dreams.
I think they did. I think they did. But now you have stuff like,
because when I finally got a PlayStation 5, one of the first things I did was like, finally, I'm on the PlayStation Network, so I can download Dreams, and I found the game.
Yeah.
And
that was early stages, though.
It was like 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It was after I think he had already moved off of Dreams because it was static at the time. Like you could fly around the world and stuff, but
I think he did make his own little studio or something, because at least his own like production company or something, because he's got a team now and they've been building this thing out like crazy. I've been watching their videos, and but yeah, I just wanted to update Dean on what this is looking like now.
Yeah, let's check this out. Dang. It looks just like from the cartoon, man.
Yep. Same exact style. That's that airball field that he played on. Temples.
Yeah, that's where you saw the Airbenders have a meeting.
Yep. One of their rooms.
Pie show.
Oh, yeah, pie show table in there. This is where you see him with Monkiazzo early on.
I'm going to mute that audio. We don't really need it for this.
Pretty cool, though. They had their own song, Four Seasons.
Yeah.
So the game is called Four Seasons.
Four Seasons, right.
Probably because of copyright.
Dude, that's beautiful. Wow.
And then, so the next one I shared is like, so this is their new
some
photo mode.
Gameplay footage.
Yeah, so this is their new photo mode that they added to the game.
Oh, cool.
And so you can like just go into it anytime. You can change his pose, his props.
Yeah.
So you can have him meditating on a cliff, or doing like a cool kick or something. And then you can actually at the bottom there, if you look in the interface, there's a button for Momo. You can change his you can change his facial expressions.
No, I remember on the one I played, you could actually switch to flying around with Momo too.
Yeah. But you can add Momo to your photos.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
That's sick.
Love it.
And there's a bunch of these, man. We could probably scroll through and go over this for like an hour. But yeah I just wanted to reignite your interest in this, because I am, if this is only on PlayStation when it finally comes out, I'm buying a PlayStation.
Well, I think he started a whole crowdfunding thing, and it got funded pretty fat, and that's what allowed him to build a team. Which means they probably went to a real development platform. Right. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what comes of it.
Yeah. What's the new game? Why am I blanking right now? It's the new one that like Fortnite and everything is on now. The new
Unity?
No, it's the new gaming platform.
You mean the engine?
Gaming engine.
Unreal?
Yeah. Unreal Engine. Yeah. Dude. The stuff you can do.
Oh, for
Unreal.
sure.
Like they have the whole new like Forge thing where you basically are creating your own game.
Right.
You can create anything you want. So like Fortnite, people can go into Fortnite because it's on Unreal Engine 4. And they can create their own versions of the game. Like they can make it realistic so it looks like Call of Duty. They can add different guns. They can add different characters. They can do anything they want. It's crazy.
Yeah, so these game development engines, which are basically like giant toolboxes that have everything you need to make a video game.
Make your own sandbox.
They've made it more possible for smaller and smaller teams to be able to make effective games. Yeah. And that's why we're in this new age of gaming where it's funny because the AAA studios who have these giant teams are coming up short on so many of these projects.
They are coming up way short.
And it's a lot of these independent teams with small teams, like 20, 30 people.
But passionate.
Or like some 2D games, like Hollow Knight is like a 3-person team.
Yeah.
That are just doing so well. And I think it's just so cool that we're in this sort of age where we're allowing people to express themselves creatively through the art of game making.
Because they want to make a great game. They don't want to make $1 million, even though when you make a great game, you can make a lot of money.
Right. Well, they just don't necessarily have a realistic expectation for making $1 million, whereas if you're this big corporation, you need to, and that's all your site is set on, and which changes the decisions you make.
Yeah. It changes the product at the end, too.
Right.
Yeah. Because if that's all you're focused on, all you're going to get is just mediocre because it's a lot of these big games like Call of Duty and like all these ones that I love. You know, like I love these games, but they're falling short every year.
Yeah,
even like Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed and stuff.
These big game studios kind of turn me off. The only one I'm still like stuck in that I can't get away from is FIFA. But I really like independent games like Hollow Knight, like Celeste. I love 2D games that feel like modernized
retro.
Like modernized retro. Like if you took a old classic Super Nintendo and gave it superpowers, right? Like I love stuff like that. There's one I just started playing recently. Have you ever seen Nine Souls?
I've heard of it. I don't know.
Dude, it's like all hand drawn looking. It's
cool,
gorgeous, and it's like a 2D side scroller action game. Yeah, just beautiful. Here's some like a screenshot from within the game.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, very cool. Then other games like Ori. There's just so much cool independent releases these days, and I'm here for it. I love it.
Yeah. Are you still primarily playing on the Switch?
No, I'm mostly playing on PS5.
Okay.
I used to play a lot on the Switch, but
not a ton has come out.
It
really.
is a lot prettier with 4K graphics on the PS5. So,
yeah,
and I don't want to dish out for Switch 2 just yet until there's more reason to be over there.
Makes sense.
Anyway, cool. Well, let's take our first break, and then we are going to go back over this chapter that we went over.
We're going to know. Yeah, we are going to go over the chapter. We're probably going to get further. Hopefully, we'll get further into this, but it sparked a lot of good conversation with us, and I think we'll just go further into our conversations this time.
Yeah, I think it will naturally reprompt the types of conversations we were having, and some of it was really fun stuff. So I can't wait for us to get into it.
Real quick, since we're going to jump right back in the book, I just want to show you guys what we're drinking tonight. We got the Holy Hermit.
Did I leave mine outside again? I think
you probably did. You do that all the time. It's a New England Imperial IPA, 8.5%. Citra Amarillo hops, 70 IBU.
It's pretty tasty. I dig it.
Yeah, it's good. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all in a bit after this break.
All right.
All this time that you've been gone, I've been fine, yeah, I've been fine. Since you walked on to find the light, I've been good, yeah, I've been fine. I contemplated the time it's taken to be persuaded to make these statements. I made my mind up since you've been tied up that I'll be good, yeah, I'll be fine. 'Cause your rule is my high, your rule is my high, your rule is my high, your rule is my high. Your rule.
Welcome back.
All right.
So yeah, I changed the way our audio is routed, which means that some of my keys on my Stream Deck need to be remapped. Gotcha. So I had it so I could just like press a button to mute us during the break music and bring us back. But now since it's multiple microphones, I need to change the way that's so it does it to all of them. Anyway, so you might hear us like you did talking over the break a little bit. Yeah. Unless I decide to edit it out, which I can do now because of the way I change things.
So you may or may not hear that. All right. Yeah, let's dive into Alien Interview. What's the start of this chapter? What's the name of this chapter?
Yeah, so this is chapter 9. It's called A Timeline of Events. And if you recall, which you may not because we already read the beginning of this chapter on our last failed attempt, where we ended... it was a chapter sort of talking about like a more of a history, like a recent history of the domain.
Yeah. And its interactions.
And they talked about the idea that they had sent out like an expeditionary force here that got
That's
captured.
That's what Airl was part of.
No. They had sent out an expeditionary force in the Himalayas like back thousands of years ago. That had set up a base here before the old empire. They realized that the old empire still had bases in the area.
Right.
And those people, that base was taken out and those people were captured and now they're basically part of the prison planet and they are humans.
Okay. Yeah, they've been refolded back in. That's right. I remember now.
So the domain basically lost about 3,000 of their people who are living as humans right now.
Trapped in the loop, same loop we all are.
Right.
Could be me, could be you, could be somebody you know.
Yeah. It makes you wonder if it's like certain people, who maybe have
like a different grasp on reality or something, maybe.
Yeah, like your channelers and like your people more with like interesting abilities or people with like
telepathic.
Your super geniuses and stuff, you know.
Yeah, people maybe have some sort of extra capacity because of their more recent tethering to the ISB.
Right.
Right.
Anyway, so this chapter is a timeline of events, and this is going to go through a bunch of date stamps and through from hundreds of thousand years ago all the way up to the present. And it's going to hit little highlights and basically build out a narrative for us of how this whole thing came to be. This whole story that Airl is talking about, like how did it all unfold?
So this is the timeline. Okay, cool.
Right.
Let's go.
All right, so Matilda O'Donnell McElroy personal note. For this interview, I took written notes because Airl gave me a lot of dates and names that I couldn't possibly remember without writing them down. I don't usually take notes, but during this lesson, I thought it was important to get the information exactly as she gave it to me. However, I discovered that my note-taking made it much more difficult for me to focus on receiving the communication from Airl. I was sometimes so distracted by my own writing that I lost the train of her thought. So I had to ask her to repeat herself several times, which is super interesting because we've all experienced this with our own trains of thought.
Yeah.
But it's such a realistic little touch on how psychic communication might work.
Like it's almost like they're connected.
Well, it's a thing you're focusing on, right? Or it's a thing you're opening yourself up to so that you can receive.
Yeah.
But if you then move your focus onto something new, like taking notes, that can distract your brain from the act of receiving.
Yeah.
And that seems very realistic to me.
The thing that I caught there was like her saying like, it's realistic, that aspect that you're talking about, but the fact that she wasn't saying I lost my train of thought.
Yeah,
I lost her train of thought.
Yes.
So it's like the thoughts are coming streaming. I mean, obviously with telepathic communication, we know it's streaming straight to her brain, right? But like, it's interesting because there's like this connection that she's having where these aren't her thoughts. These aren't, obviously it seems intuitive when you talk about somebody's telepathically communicating with you, but it kind of speaks to like what it feels like.
Right.
Like this connection where you are just sitting there silently and somebody else's story or thoughts are coming into your brain and you hear it with the same intonation that they are thinking it.
But then if you start to engage in an activity that starts to demand your attention, you might start focusing on that activity to the extent that it precludes your ability to keep receiving the stream.
Right. So like when I think about like if I'm writing down a thought I'm having, like the act of writing it and having the thought are two separate things. Like I don't know. I'm just trying to.
You know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of like sometimes like I'm at work and I'll be writing an email and someone will come in and start talking to me. But because I'm engaged in a separate form of communication, my mind is on that.
Yes.
And someone will be talking to me, and I might even be able to catch a couple words, and I may be able to talk back a little bit. But then maybe a certain section of what I'm writing is a little more demanding for me, like figuring out how am I going to word this or that. And then I realize I'm not listening to the person who came into my office. It's that whole like multitasking, and I'm one of those people who thinks like multitasking isn't really a thing people can do. Like there's like walking and chewing gum, but those are physical activities that your subconscious can learn to do automatically. And there's like talking to someone and driving, but that's because driving is scarily can be one of those things that you can do subconsciously.
Muscle memory. Yeah.
But when you're doing two conscious things that require conscious attention, you can't really do those simultaneously.
Right. Yeah.
You can't engage in two conversations that demand your attention at the same time.
Right.
In the form of writing and talking.
Yeah.
Or at least I can't.
Which shows you that like the telepathic communication is in a way a step forward, but it still requires your conscious connection and focus.
Yeah, it requires
you can't
attention.
Just have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just have it being streamed into your brain, or maybe eventually when you have enough practice, like driving or something, where you think
like a court stenographer has the ability to like listen and type, like, but they have like tricks for being able to type in such a way that allows them to focus. They're using a shorthand so that they can focus on what's coming in and keep up with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so when you learn that,
but that's a trained skill.
You have to train it. That's not something that happens automatically. Like you can, we all multitask or seemingly multitask, but you look back on the things you multitask and you're like, yeah, I wasn't giving my full attention to either of those things. I wasn't truly multitasking. I wasn't giving 100% of my attention to either one, so neither. But of
sometimes
them were
that's fine.
As good
like
as they could
if you're washing the dishes and like
listening to a podcast, or like your wife's talking to you, or whatever. Neither
of those things necessarily demand your full attention, so they work well together. But
when it's two people trying to have a conversation with you, or you trying to get out an idea while somebody else is talking to you, like
or form an idea in your head about what you want to say next while you're listening, then you're not really listening type stuff, right?
Yep, exactly.
Airl continued to stay in communication with the communications officer on the asteroid belt space station, from which she received much of this information. Since Airl was an officer / pilot / engineer of the domain and not a historian, she had to get this information from records of reconnaissance missions conducted by other officers of the domain expeditionary force.
Previously, right?
Yeah, so we had talked about previously that she was essentially, if you recall the part where Matilda taught her to read, then there was a part where she started teaching Matilda, and she said that she was receiving information about humans from their space stations.
Yeah, like their mainframe, like the other people who had been here before.
So she's saying here that, she's still in communication mode and getting a download basically from an archive of the domain about
Earth's activities and
history,
everything. Right. Yeah, like this isn't coming from her specific knowledge.
Right.
Or individual knowledge, I should say.
I really want a sound effect button for this, but top secret.
Oh, we need to do that.
That'd be cool.
We need to do that.
Official transcript of the U.S. Army Air Force, Roswell Army Airfield, 509th Bomb Group. Subject, alien interview. 27th of July, 1947, first session. The actual history of Earth is very bizarre. It is also nonsensical that it is also so nonsensical that it is incredible to anyone on Earth who attempts to investigate it. A myriad of vital information is missing from it. A huge conglomeration of non sequitur relics and mythology has been arbitrarily introduced into it. The volatile nature of the Earth itself cyclically covers, drowns, mixes, and shreds physical evidence. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
These factors, combined with amnesia and post-hypnotic suggestions, false facades, covert manipulation, makes a reconstruction of the factual origins and history of Earth civilizations virtually indecipherable. Any investigator, no matter how brilliant, is doomed to wallow in a quagmire of inconclusive assumptions, unworkable hypotheses, and perpetual mystery.
Yeah, that makes me think of Zahi Hawass and Graham Hancock and people who are piecing together as much information as they can, coming up with theories. And then you got people who are just like, hey, that doesn't make sense. We don't have any evidence of that because of this, this, and this, and this, and this. And yeah, our Earth has been through so many cataclysms in our history that so much evidence could be just buried or recycled within the Earth, and we would never know.
Right.
We know now that humans have been around for hundreds of thousands of years.
There's so many writers who have attempted to make like a theory of everything, like a historical theory of everything of humans, right? And like try and write out a narrative of who are we as humanity?
Where we came
what
from,
is our real
this
history?
Stuff. Yeah.
How do you contextualize all of these religious myths from all over the world and combine them into some sort of cohesive narrative? And there's so many attempts at that, and as this points out, they all fall short in one way or another.
I mean, just the fact that humans have been around for hundreds of thousands of years, anatomically modern humans have been around for hundreds of thousands of years, and our brain size, our capacities have been the same. You're telling me there's no way that in those hundreds of thousands, it took 100,000 years minus 5,000 where we became modern, where we've had agriculture, where we've had tools, and we've been able to like manipulate the environment like we have now. Come on, it's just ludicrous. It's just as ludicrous as looking out into the
but then
cosmos
the
and
people who
thinking
try
we're
and go
alone.
back and take the history back further, they themselves are painting these narratives that also don't make sense, and
because we
also
don't
have holes in it because
the Earth doesn't allow the evidence. Like we can't. The Earth won't allow that far back. Like there's a stopping point where the Earth has changed too much, and things have gone underwater in a volcano or hit by an asteroid or whatever. There's no evidence left.
Right.
Yeah.
Since the domain does not suffer these afflictions, having the advantage of memory, longevity, and an exterior point of view, I will add some clarification to your fragmentary knowledge of the history of Earth. There are some of these dates and events that are not mentioned in Earth history textbooks. These dates are significant because they provide some information concerning the influences of the old empire and of the domain on Earth. Although I have attended several briefings about by our mission control personnel on the general background of Earth within the past few hundred years, I will rely principally on data gathered from records captured after our invasion of the old empire planetary headquarters. Since that time, the Domain Expeditionary Force has tracked the general progress of events on Earth. As I mentioned, in some cases, the Domain has chosen to intervene in certain affairs on Earth in order to ensure the success of our long-term expansion plans. Although the Domain has no interest in Earth per se, or interest in the population of Isbys on this planet, it does serve our interests to ensure that the resources of Earth are not destroyed or spoiled. To that end, certain officers of the Domain have been sent to Earth on reconnaissance missions from time to time to gather information. However, The following dates and events have been extrapolated from the accumulated information in the data files of the domain, at least those that are accessible to me through the Space Station Communication Center. And so we start our list of dates.
All right, let's go.
The first date we got here, 208,000 BCE.
That's my great grandpa.
The establishment of the old empire, whose headquarters were located near one of the tail stars in the Ursa Major, Big Dipper constellation of this galaxy. The old empire invasion force conquered the area with nuclear weapons sometime earlier. After the radioactivity subsided and the cleanup and restoration were completed, it received the immigration of beings from another galaxy into this galaxy. Those beings set up a society that kept going until about 10,000 years ago when it was superseded by the domain. So the old empire, the people there
200,000 years ago.
Yeah, the people they're taking over from here in our galaxy, they got their start in our galaxy 208,000 years ago.
Gotcha. Okay.
Very recently, Earth civilization has come to resemble aspects of that civilization now that it has fallen out of its immediate control. In particular, the appearance and technology of transportation such as planes, trains, ships, fire engines, and automobiles, as well as what you consider to be modern or futuristic architecture, which emulate the design of buildings in the major cities of the old empire.
Yeah, I remember thinking from our last time recording this episode, like, that's interesting because it's like a bleed through. So once the control ends from the old empire, the beings under the control started to emulate or show signs of like bleed through of the technology from the old empire.
Right.
And also, when the end of the old empire happened, I can only imagine there was some arrests, right? And imprisonments.
Sure, but
so maybe
their home planet is on basically in the star from the Big Dipper. Ursa Major.
But where's the closest prison? Earth.
Yeah, but that's an old empire prison. I don't think the domain is imprisoning.
But they've said they've allowed the continuing of and domain is taking over the area. They never said they overthrew the old empire.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
They said they specifically were the ones. So I can only imagine that they would be imprisoning if they're talking about taking over another group.
Maybe.
And maybe some of those old empire people that were imprisoned during that process, some of these higher ups were imprisoned on Earth.
Yeah, we'll see if that
because they've said that they don't care about Earth necessarily.
Yeah.
So why not? Hey, there's the closest prison planet that they were putting people on. Let's go put them there until we come back a couple thousand years later and deal with it. So maybe that's why there's this bleed through effect of after the old empire, we start to see some of their similarities come up. And maybe we or some version or some small collective of us that's remnants of the old empire, the Isbies of the old empire, are bleeding through in our societies as we get older and older.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, it sounds like we're as a prison planet of the old empire, we come from cultures that the old empire oversaw or dominated or whatever. And so aspects of those are showing back up here too.
But the fact that they notated the fact that it was after the end of the old empire, those things, it wasn't something that was inherent in the prison itself or in Earth itself before then. Obviously, the control ended, so maybe that's when like civilization started to grow. Yeah. So maybe that's when.
Well, you're getting way ahead of the timeline. We'll
let's keep going.
We're just at the beginning of the old empire at this point. Right. So let's wait till we get to the point where they come.
Okay, I'll keep building this theory then.
Yeah.
Here. Let's keep going.
All right. So before 75,000 BCE, the domain records. The domain records contain very little information about the civilizations on the continental landmasses of Atlanta and Lemur. except to note that they did coexist on Earth at more or less the same time. Apparently, both civilizations were founded by remnants of electronic space opera cultures who fled from their native planetary systems to escape political or religious persecution. So the old empire starts taking over the galaxy 200,000 years ago. 75,000 years ago, these cultures show up on Earth called Atlanta and Lemuria.
And almost simultaneous with... So maybe there was a conflict.
It sounds like they're running away from the empire forces, and they find a planet on the outer rim of the galaxy that's not very policed yet, so to move.
And this is before the prison started on Earth,
right? This is before the prison.
Yeah. Okay.
The domain knows about the long-standing edict of the old empire prohibits unauthorized colonization of planets. Therefore, it is possible that their destruction was caused by police or military forces who pursued the colonists as criminals and destroyed them. Although this seems a likely supposition, no conclusive evidence exists that explains the complete destruction and disappearance of two entire electronic civilizations. Another possibility is that a massive submarine volcanic eruption in the region of Lake Toba in Sumatra, Mount Krakatoa in Java, caused the destruction of Lemur. The floodwaters caused by the eruption overwhelmed all the land masses, including the highest mountains. Survivors of the destruction of the civilizations, the Lemurians, are the earliest ancestors of the Chinese. Australia and the ocean areas of the north were the center of the Lemurian civilization and are the source of Oriental races. Both civilizations possessed electronics, flight, and similar technologies of space opera technologies or cultures.
Space opera.
Apparently, the volcanic eruption expelled such a significant mass of molten rock that the resulting vacuum beneath the crust of Earth caused a great area of the land masses to sink below the oceans. The continental areas occupied by both civilizations were covered with volcanic matter and then submerged, leaving very little evidence that they ever existed, except for legends of a global flood which prevail in every culture of the earth, and for survivors who are the genus of Oriental races and cultures. The kind of colossal volcanic explosion fills the stratosphere with toxic gases that are carried around the whole planet. The usual refuse of these volcanic eruptions can easily cause a rain that lasts for 40 days and 40 nights due to atmospheric pollution, as well as an extensive period during which the radiation from the sun is deflected back into space and cause global cooling. Certainly, such an event would cause an ice age, extinction of life forms, and many other relatively long-term changes lasting thousands of years. Due to the myriad types of naturally occurring global cataclysmic events which are indigenous to Earth, it is not a suitable planet for habitation by ISBs. In addition, there have been occasional global cataclysms caused by ISBs, such as the ones that destroyed the dinosaurs more than 70 million years ago. That destruction was caused by intergalactic warfare, during which time Earth and many other neighboring moons and planets were bombarded by atomic weapons. Atomic explosions cause atmospheric fallout, much like that of volcanic eruptions. Most of the planets in this sector of the galaxy have been uninhabitable deserts since then. Earth is undesirable for many other reasons: heavy gravity, dense atmospheric floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, polar shifts, continental drift, meteor impacts, atmospheric and climatic changes, to name a few. What kind of lasting civilization could any sophisticated culture propose to develop in such an environment? In addition, Earth is a small planet of a rim star of a galaxy. This makes Earth very isolated geographically from the more concentrated planetary civilizations which exist towards the center of the galaxy. These obvious facts have made Earth suitable for use only as a zoological or botanical garden, or for its current use as a prison, but not much else.
And that's within our own galaxy, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, basically 75,000 years ago, we get Atlanta and Lemur. So Lemuria and Atlantis, I take, and they're destroyed
from the natural devastation of the.
Well, Airl here is not actually sure. She is saying,
but she's saying that there's a possibility that something sort of nuclear thing or electronic or some sort of technological thing could.
Yeah, she's saying that the domain military or police forces may have come here and found the civilizations and destroyed them as a punishment for having unauthorized, unsupervised civilization in the planet or in the galaxy they are supposed to control.
I see.
Or it could have been a big natural calamity. But this is around the time of about 75,000 years ago. So this is different than like the Younger Dryas cataclysm.
Right. But it's still similar in the devastation of the land masses that would have been considered Lemuria and Atlantis.
Yeah, this image of a super volcano blowing out so much mass that it causes the land masses of the rest of the Earth to sink below the ocean to fill the gap.
Right.
That's a terrifying thought.
Well, and we know that we have plate tectonics, and we know that these things happen periodically where there's a massive shift in our plate tectonics. Like we know that the land masses of Earth have shifted over the millions of years.
Oh,
so
totally.
There's no reason that they couldn't have had an active period of a couple 100,000 years where things were changing rapidly, and then calm back down.
All right, ready for the next one?
Let's go.
Oh wait, we're actually ready for a break.
All right, yeah, let's take a break and we'll hop back into alien interview.
We'll see you in a bit.
Fell asleep in Manila, woke up in Dilla, feeling like a new man since the last time I seen ya. I've been lurking in the shadows, thinking about tomorrow, plotting my escape from this black cloud that follows. Raindrops wherever I go, drenching my own thoughts, soaking in the pain, hoping for change. I pray to God. She tells me what I need to hear and shows me what I don't. Tells me there's no need to fear, it doesn't mean I won't. One day I'll be gone, I contemplate what might be said. Might be too far ahead, you never know, it could be less, I could be next. Now who's to say it is? I hope to live whatever's left of me, complete my destiny before I exit it. See now experiencing the genesis, beginning of foreverness, embedded in my skeleton where heaven lives. This is my testament, and this message is for you. Before the sunshine's gone, I hope it shines through to you, to you, to you. From among the shadows, from the heart of my soul, I will let the light glow. I will let myself go, I will let the light glow. From among the shadows, from the heart of my soul, I'ma let my light glow. I'ma let myself go, I will let the light glow. I'ma let the light glow, I will let the light glow. I'ma let the light glow, I'ma let myself go. For you, for you, for you. I'ma let the light glow, I'ma let myself go. For you, 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 for you.
Welcome back.
All right.
That was M.Born featuring Stevie Nader, and the song is called Shadows.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Good
dude.
song.
Yeah, I love Stevie's like whole. I like that it wasn't just like a verse, chorus. It was like verse, and then like the whole second half of the song was just Stevie going off singing.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool, and The effects on his voice were super fun too. Really kind of abstract and just I dig it. Yeah,
good vibe,
fun song
for sure.
All right, back to the book.
Back to the book.
All right, so before 30,000 BCE. So the last section was 75,000.
Right. Okay.
Earth started being used as a dumping ground and prison for Isbies who were judged untouchable, meaning criminal or nonconformist. So this is when, so the old empire starts in 208,000.
Right.
But the Earth doesn't become a prison until
30,
about 30.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah.
Between 75,000 and 30,000 years ago.
Yeah, it just says before 30,000. So it's in
approximate, which
their
their time scale is maybe way off than compared to ours. So
yeah, who
if
knows,
it's an approximation, it could be tens of thousands of years.
It could be, yeah. Especially being that the last date mentioned was before 75,000.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, for criminals and nonconformists, Isbies were captured, encapsulated in electronic traps, transported to Earth from various parts of the old empire. Underground amnesia stations were set up on Mars and on Earth in Renzori Mountains in Africa, in Pyrenees Mountains of Portugal, and in the Steppes Mountains of Mongolia.
Okay.
These electronic monitoring points create force screens designed to detect and capture Isbies when the Isbie departs the body at death.
So these are those reincarnation
traps. Right.
Yeah.
So they're specifically designed to capture the soul leaving the body at the moment of death.
Right. Okay.
Isbies are brainwashed using extreme using extreme electronic force in order to maintain Earth's population in a state of perpetual amnesia. Further population controls are installed through the use of long-range electronic thought control mechanisms. These stations are still in operation, and they are extremely difficult to attack or destroy, even for the domain, which we will not maintain a significant military force in this area until a later date. The pyramid civilizations were intentionally created as part of the Isbie prison system on Earth. So this sort of puts it in line with a lot of the ancient theorists,
even like Armando May,
right?
And his theory on 36,000 years ago when
that's the whole like
Egyptian
Giza,
plateau
belt of Orion, Nile alignment sort of theory.
Built. Yeah,
right.
The
pyramid is alleged to be the symbol for wisdom. However, the wisdom of the old empire on planet Earth is intended to operate as part of the elaborate amnesia trap consisting of mass, meaning, and mystery. These are opposite to the qualities of an immortal spiritual being, which have no mass, no meaning. An Isbie is solely because it thinks that it is.
Yeah.
Mass represents the physical universe, including objects such as stars, planets, gases, liquids, energy particles, and teacups. I love that they're in teacups.
Of course, you got to throw in some Alice in Wonderland.
Ooh, yeah. Didn't catch that. The pyramids were very solid objects. You know what that this also makes me think of? It makes me think of like the Gnostic interpretation of creation.
Yeah.
I watched some videos about that this week, and in the Gnostic traditions, this is where you get the idea that the all, the source, the one God, right, created a being, and then like created multiple beings that created other beings. And the being that created our universe created it basically out of like arrogance or out of a mistake or out of like And it wasn't the one God that created our universe. It was one of these sub ones. And that's where you get the idea of the demiurge.
Right.
So if you haven't looked into any of that stuff, check out Gnostic history. I'll leave a link.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out. I haven't listened to a ton of that.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. But anyway, it's kind of reminiscent of that to me.
Something that they said too in there was like the fact that, and it was a simple thing that just sparked a thought in me, like the physical universe. If you give any credence to the multiverse theories, like it begs you to just admit that the physical universe is one of many universes. So this other realm in which your spirit lives is a different universe in which you can tap into other universes, maybe.
So I would say yes.
Interface with it.
Yeah, I would like agree, but on that, like, yes. So a multiverse sort of implies other universes, but I feel like in a lot of contemplations of a multiverse, it implies other physical universes.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Whereas I feel like making a distinction, saying the physical universe is saying like the physical portion of the universe as a smaller part of a whole.
Yeah, I'm more like, because I also think that if we live on this spectrum, then there's the frequency is something that matters.
Sure.
So maybe there are other frequencies that are physical in nature, but have different rules.
Sure.
And that there are many frequencies that are non-physical and have different effects or rules too.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say I get where you're going with that. I just think, yeah, the calling it the physical universe implies either a multiverse, but maybe more likely
a solo physical universe,
a larger non-physical universe.
Yeah, I think that there are, if there were multiple universes, there would probably be multiple physical universes and multiple non-physical universes.
Right.
If I had to guess. And maybe some of these physical universes have more of a tether to some of the non-physical
universes. Or maybe there's
universes.
only a single of
maybe there's
the
a duality,
non-physical
right?
universe that's creating like many instances of physical universes.
Maybe there's this duality function of it, though, where there's like a non-physical and a physical that are paired in a way, and that they might bridge to others, but there are pairs of these universes that are entangled.
I just feel like once you're non-physical, then like what's to confine you to a particular universe anymore?
Well, it could be complete. It could be a non-physical feature. Like it could be something that's like quantum, that's like just some sort of entanglement, and it has nothing to do with being like fully like stuck to that, but that the physical, like your soul is of this combination. But once you're non-physical, you're non-physical. Maybe that's when you can go between the universe pairs.
Right.
But you are still entangled in some way to this one physical universe.
Right, and
so if you were to incarnate,
also,
maybe you are only
there's another implication,
in the one
though.
physical universe.
There's another implication of there being a multiverse, which is that there is some sort of space or essence that those universes exist within, and so there may be like intra-universe, universal spaces,
or macro universes that are like on top of it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, interesting. Mass represents the physical universe, including objects such as stars, planets, gases, liquids, energy particles, and teacups. The pyramids were very, very solid objects, as were all structures created by the old empire. Heavy, massive, dense, solid objects create the illusion of eternity. Dead bodies wrapped in linen, soaked in resin, placed inside engraved golden coffins, and entombed within with earthly possessions amid cryptic symbols, create an illusion of eternal life. However, dense, heavy physical universe symbols are the exact opposite of an ISB. An ISB has no mass, no time, Objects do not endure forever, and Isby is forever.
Yeah,
so they're saying this like symbolism, these symbols of eternity,
part of the trap.
Are because they feed into the illusion that mass and matter has permanence, but it doesn't.
And it feeds into the illusion that you are immortal in a sense of like the physical universe is immortal, or that like everything as is going to always be. Yeah. In a weird way of like that was no pun intended with the Isby there.
So they were talking about mass, meaning, and mystery. So we did the mass part. So here's the meaning part. Meaning. False meanings prevent knowledge of truth. The pyramid cultures of Earth are a fabricated illusion. They are nothing more than false civilizations contrived by the old empire mystery cult called the Brothers of the Serpent. False meanings were invented to create the illusion of a false society to further reinforce the amnesia mechanism among the, I think I'm supposed to say inmates, it says intimates, in the Earth prison system.
So it's like, yeah, that's interesting.
So creating false meanings is one of the ways to essentially trap you as part of the prison. Like symbols that lead to...
Or idols even. Right? Yeah. Symbols and idols that give you
meanings that essentially obfuscate the nature of reality.
Yeah, because it gives you meanings, but it's always like meanings in a sense of like...
multiple
indoctrination in a sense, like where you're giving your meaning up to another entity or to another, form.
Yeah. And the third one is mystery. Mystery is built of lies and half-truths. Lies cause persistence because they alter facts, which are compromised of exact dates, places, and events. When truth is known, a lie no longer persists. If the exact truth is revealed, it is no longer a mystery. All of the pyramid civilizations of Earth were carefully contrived of layer upon layer of lies, skillfully combined with a few truths. The priest cults of the old empire combined sophisticated mathematics and space opera technology with theatrical metaphors and symbolism. All of these are complete fabrications of truth, baited with the allure of aesthetics and mystery. The intricate rituals, astronomical alignments, secret rites, massive monuments, marvelous architecture, artistically rendered hieroglyphs, and man-animal gods were designed to create an unsolvable mystery for the Isby prison population on Earth. The mystery diverts attention away from the truth that Isbys have been captured, given amnesia, and imprisoned on a planet far, far away from their home. The truth is that every single Isby on Earth came to Earth from some other planetary system. Not one person on Earth is a native inhabitant. Human beings did not evolve on Earth.
Human beings didn't evolve on Earth? So that's the physical form of the Isby. That's not...
Right. That's saying this genetic structure that we're incarnating into came from somewhere else. Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Because it has nothing to do with the Isbys themselves. Because if we're thinking about the spirits, then
the human being is a physical pattern that an Isby can incarnate into. But the Isby is separate from the human form. Right.
Right. The human form
didn't come from here.
Yeah, right. So that, and it could have also meant like the old empire impregnated the Earth with that form, and that's the form that they chose for this Earth because
that seems to be suited the implication.
It the best.
Right.
And then they put all the Isbys in that form.
In the past, Egyptian society was run by the prison administrators or priests, who in turn manipulated a pharaoh, controlled the treasury, and kept the inmate population enslaved physically and spiritually. In modern times, the priests have changed, but the function is the same. However, now the priests are prisoners too. Mystery reinforces the walls of the prison. The old empire feared that Isbys on Earth might regain their memory. Therefore, one of the primary functions of the old empire priesthood is to prevent Isbys on Earth from remembering who they really are, how they came to Earth, and where they came from. The old empire operators of the prison system and their superiors do not want Isbys to remember who murdered them, captured them, stole all of their possessions, sent them to Earth, gave them amnesia, condemned them to eternal imprisonment.
Yeah, because then you'd have some hell to pay.
Right.
This is when it reminded me, I remember making this connection last week when we recorded this episode initially, the connection to Plato's cave and the allegory of the cave.
Interesting, yeah.
And how like this priesthood class on Earth was meant to maintain the population, so they were themselves... But
they are in the cave.
So they are themselves enslaved in it, but they were meant, or at least initially maybe set up in such a way where they had more access to the Isbys that were controlling the population.
Right, because they're helping to perpetrate the illusion, so which means they are sort of above the illusion.
But they can't be above that doesn't mean too much, because then they break loose and then they see the,
because they're still in the cave,
of it. Right? In order to be in the cave at all, you have to have some sort of brainwashing or illusion.
Well, if you know that it's futile to escape the cave, but you know that you have the option of being one of these people who's being lied to and like being treated as the lowest, or you know that you can be one of these like upper crust elites that is perpetrating the illusion.
Right.
Because you know that leaving isn't an option, you would prefer this option to be one of the people perpetrating the illusion.
And
which gives you a privilege. You're like a privileged class.
Yeah.
And this is where the like division of like, when you go deep into conspiracy rabbit holes, into some of these dark topics, like in the news a lot right now is all this Epstein stuff. It's just so dark. And when you think about it, it doesn't make sense until you start to like, when you basically start to get this idea that essentially the reason people can do these things is because they have othered everyone else. They think of themselves as something different, a step above, a different quality, a better genetic stock, something different than the rest, which gives them the right, or at least changes the morality of the heinous crimes they commit, right? And it takes that sort of mindset. And this is essentially one of those divisions, right? Like if you know that it's a prison and you know you're a prison guard perpetuating the prison system, then whether or not you're the same race or whatever, same species, you are on the opposite end of the control system, and that is the justification by which you can other the rest of the species, that right?
Othering, right. And it reminds me too, like if you go further down the allegory of the cave, like when the chains were broken by the person at the lowest and they came back out and they saw it, and it was blinding. This truth of outside the cave was so blinding and so disorienting that when they came back, they were unable to describe it in a meaningful way to the inhabitants. So even if you...
And then, of course, the inhabitants didn't believe them.
Right. And they don't believe them because it's so fantastical and it's so outside the realm of possibility that it just, and that's why I just quickly want to, like, relate this to the UFO topic. Like, when you start seeing glimpses of this fantastical, idea of what it could be like to break down the barriers of what we think is real and not, it traps everybody, or it forces everybody to at least think of it individually. Like, because of the New York Times article and because of all the congressional hearings, so many more people are becoming aware of the fact that UFOs are even sort of a mainstream topic, that it starts to, with some people, they put up a wall and it's a brick wall and they're never going to accept any kind of evidence. But then there's other people who are like leaking, like it's starting to leak into their subconscious.
Yeah. But then there's also like this this new playground set up, this new level.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so going with the cave allegory, like it's like this cave is set up in stepped tiers, right?
Yeah.
And as you escape, like you break your chains and you escape and you climb up a level, and there's a new shadow play on the wall.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? I've never seen any of this.
Yeah.
But it's still part of the lie.
Yeah.
And then you have to escape up to the next level, and there's a whole new shadow play on the new wall.
Right. New guards, new prison guards, new everything.
Right. And so, like, you're still in the cave on each of those steps up, and you're getting access to different information, but it can all be part of, like, a separate tiered part of the lie. Right. And I feel like the UFO topic is similar in that way, where, like, getting into the UFO topic represents going up a level in the cave, right? But being stuck in these, like, myopic narratives of, like, it can only be, like, a big chunk of the UFO topic is about it being biological species traveling here in physical craft from another star system. And maybe there's a percentage of that, but, like, if you look at the topic as a whole, it opens up to so much possibilities and so many implications for how the nature of the universe might be. So if all you're focusing is that there may be non-related species, like, just happening to stop by Earth in their fancy space vehicles they invented every once in a while, you're sort of falling into another one of the shadow shows. Because
if you're only, if you just think of it like a jet, like you're just watching a show, like an episode of the Jetsons or something, and, like, you're just like, like intergalactic travels thing, and, like, but you're not grasping the actual, like, monumental shift that would take place in the society,
right?
And then it could be a trap in itself, because if you allow them to, or whatever control system it may be, to maintain that grip on you, then they can paint any picture they want of that new reality.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
All right, let me try and finish out this this date before we take our next break here.
Okay, let's go.
The old empire operators of the prison system and their superiors do not want ISBs to remember who murdered them. Oh, yeah, I did that one. Imagine what might happen if all the inhabitants in the prison suddenly remembered that they have the right to be free. What if they suddenly realize that they have been falsely imprisoned and rise up as one against the guards? They are afraid to reveal anything that looks like the civilization of the inmates' home planets. A body, a piece of clothing, a symbol, a spaceship, an advanced electronics device, or any other remnant of civilization from a home planet could remind a being and rekindle his memory. Sophisticated technologies of entrapment and enslavement, which were developed over millions of years in the old empire, have been applied to the ISBs on Earth with the intention to create a false facade for the prison. These facades were installed on Earth in totality all at once. Every piece is a fully integrated part of the prison system. This includes a religion of mumbo-jumbo doublespeak. Every pyramid civilization uses this as part of a control mechanism to keep a population enslaved by force, by fear, and by ignorance. The indecipherable muddle of irrelevant information, geometric designs, mathematical calculations, astronomical alignments are all part of a false spirituality based on solid objects rather than immortal spirits, in order to confuse and disorient the ISBs on Earth. When the body of a person died, they were buried with their earthly possessions, including their former body wrapped in linen to sustain their soul, or ka, after death. An ISB does not have a soul. An ISB is a soul. On the home planet of an ISB, their material possessions were not lost, stolen, or forgotten when the being died or left the body. An ISB could return to claim their possessions. However, if an ISB has amnesia, they will not remember that they had any possessions. So governments, insurance companies, bankers, family members, and other vultures can pick their possessions clean without fear of retribution from the deceased. Let me finish this, and then I want to get into this because this was part of the conversation I really loved last time.
Yeah.
The only reason for these false meanings is to instill the idea that an Isby is not a spirit, but a physical object. This is a lie. It is a trap for an Isby. Countless people have spent endless hours attempting to solve the jigsaw puzzle of Egypt and other old empire civilizations. They are puzzles made of pieces that do not fit. The question states its own answer. What is the mystery of Egypt and other pyramid cultures? Mystery.
Yeah.
So yeah, this idea here, where it's talking about
possessions and like past life possessions and stuff.
So like,
yeah, like when you die, and like if I were to die as Drew Glover, and all the things that I own and cherish could be and are oftentimes in history just taken by whoever,
absorbed
is the
by
next
the state
person.
and estate taxes
and family members and all this stuff. Because when you come back and you're reincarnated, you don't remember your past life. You don't remember the things you had before.
Well, and you may not be even born into the same family, right? When we were going over the reincarnation series, many, if not most, of the cases that we covered
different families.
Were people born into different families than the one they past life was in. But if you are an Isby, let's take Airl's premise for granted here, right? To have this conversation.
Right.
If you're an Isby who does not have amnesia, maybe you are incarnated into a physical form as a human, but you still know that you're trillions of years old. You know your entire history. You know why you chose to be a human. And when you die, you're still conscious of, and you're not life. Right. And so maybe for a couple thousand years, you decide to have a human experience with a group of souls that you really enjoy the presence of, and you form a family unit in which you leapfrog over generations, reincarnating into each other's lines to keep a close-knit family, and you can protect each other's possessions after death, so that on your next incarnation, once you come of age, all that stuff can be granted back to you to continue your life's work from your previous incarnation. The entire nature of life would be different if the reality of remembering all your lifetimes,
if death was not a burden and was more
if
of
life was not amnesiac, and if death and rebirth
was just another step in the stone,
didn't cause new instances of amnesia. And if you could control your reincarnation, right? Yeah,
we had a conversation outside last time we recorded this and talked about this, where we were talking about how, like, if this is true, like if you grant that this is true, and we talk about it, like these families that have been these royal families and billionaire families that have passed down generational wealth,
the prison guards,
these former priests of the old
shadow
age,
puppeteers.
Yeah, if they are granted this, at least to not have amnesia, and they are in prison just like the rest of us, but their prison looks a lot more like a white collar crime prison than a blue collar crime prison.
And so the terms of their prison sentence may be that you still can't leave Earth. However, you are useful to us, and you will continue to be useful to us because you don't have amnesia. So, if there are different classes in that sense, then that's another way to other people. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And in a semi-real sense too, right? It's not a justified, but it is still a real difference.
Yep.
Just like the people do in fact have different color skin, but that doesn't mean it's a justifiable way to other someone, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah, it's interesting if there's a class of rulers that essentially have this ability to
even if it's not
through
fully
occult practices or through
even if it's not fully
maintaining a family line,
right,
like
even if they don't have just
even it's just through records or whatever, right?
Even if they're just able to keep track of enough, and they were able to do some sort of occult practice in order to guarantee that when they die, they can have the choice to reincarnate back into their family.
Right.
So you say like some, wealthy person is on their deathbed and they're like, and they, at the same time, they do some sort of ritual where some person in their family is having a child around the same time, and they can reincarnate into that child instead of going off and being recycled back into just the generic, population.
And that starts to explain how it may be possible that it seems like certain old money families and certain like political groups have this ability to operate on timescales of motivation that are many times longer than what us normal ragtag folks are able to concentrate on, right?
Yeah.
Like the 80-year lifespan of us is like a blink in the eye compared to the timescales that they're able to consider because they're not restarting every single time like we are.
Yeah, they can set us. They can,
and so they can be very patient in building their control systems, and
they can start a plan that's not going to come to fruition for generations.
Right.
They can start laying the foundation for something that's going to finally unfold. 20,
that the physical body they're in at that moment won't see the fruits of, but that their family and legacy will.
Soul will.
Right.
Right.
So what would motivate you to act on such slow time horizons? Only if you really believe that you can take advantage of the fruits of that labor.
Yep. Yeah. In some way or another. Yeah.
Whether it's directly you or your family, so yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah. It definitely has some,
this type of stuff
starts to pull into reality.
Connects into like spirituality. It connects into reincarnation. It connects into conspiracy theory.
Yeah. But it also connects to reality in that there are families and royal bloodlines that have persisted through many millennia,
right,
and are still going to this day.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the general population, many people can't track their ancestry that far back,
Right.
It's pretty interesting. But yeah, let's take a quick break, and we'll see y'all after this song by, I can't actually see who it's from, but
yeah, I think this is a TJ song here.
Okay. All right, we'll see y'all in a minute.
to fully understand the ways of love and how it works or makes us comprehend all the emotions and all the sweat and tears that's forced into this relationship through these last couple of years. And can we take a moment to realize that you and I are just a phase in a series through our lives? 'Cause you'll change and I'll be that one who gets to love you while it lasts and gets the privilege to see the days go by and these feelings grow apart. We'll say goodbye to the emotions in our heart. We'll gather wisdom and maybe we will see that we were too young to read the love, and this wasn't meant to be.
Welcome back. That was TJ McNulty, and the song was called Moment.
Man, I'm just, every time I hear him, I need to hear more from you, TJ. Need you to keep making music, man.
Dude, yeah.
So good.
I'm trying to, because he's going to be moving soon, so when he does, I'm trying to make sure he has a recording set up so that he can like send me his stuff and I can help him get it all mixed and prettied up and stuff.
He needs to keep writing that music, man.
Yeah, dude.
You got a lot to say.
All right, let's get back to it.
Go.
All right, so last one was circa 30,000 BCE, right? Okay. So now we're at circa 15,000 BCE.
Okay, let's keep going.
The old Empire forces supervised the construction of a hydraulic mining operation in the Andes Mountains in present-day Bolivia near Lake Titicaca, Lake of Tin Stones at Tiahuanaco, including construction of the massive stone complex of carved stone buildings known as the Colossaea and its Gate of the Sun at an elevation of nearly 14,000 feet.
Wonder if it's still there.
Yeah. All right, now we're skipping forward again. 11,600 BCE. So this is Younger Dryas times, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The polar axis of Earth shifted to a sea area. The last ice age came to an end abruptly as the polar ice caps melted and the level of the ocean rose to submerge large sections of the land masses of Earth. The last remaining vestiges of Atlantis and Lemuria were covered by water. Massive extinctions of animals occurred in the Americas, Australia, and the Arctic regions due to the shift of the poles.
Yeah, because it shifted to the poles they are currently.
Right.
So they were somewhere else before.
Right. So the current North Pole is in the ocean.
Yeah, it's in, like they said there, it's in the northern oceans and the southern oceans.
Well, the South
there is
Pole
a landmass underneath the
Antarctica.
Yeah.
But the northern pole is on the ocean, which means that the ice that's building up there is the weight of that is in the oceans,
which pushes that
which
water
keeps the
elsewhere.
ocean level high, right?
Yeah.
If we were to have a north and south pole where both of them were over land,
right, it would make the ocean levels go way down.
Well, then as the ice piled up, we were removing water from the oceans, and that ice is not sitting on the ocean to rebalance the water, and so the water levels will go down and down and down and down and down.
Yeah, because under Antarctica is a landmass,
right?
But a lot of Antarctica is
science
ice
that has
and
been
water.
done there has shown like forests and stuff
underneath,
like
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 in the
ancient
permafrost,
forests
permafrost,
buried
right?
under the ice and whatnot.
Yep.
10,450 BCE. Plans were made by the old empire Isbis called Thoth for the construction of a great pyramid of Giza. Oh, so this is saying the Great Pyramid is 10,450.
Oh, right. Yeah, so like right after the end of
Thoth,
the... Well, right
Thoth,
during...
Thoth. But yeah, I think it's pronounced Thoth.
Yeah, I think it's Thoth.
The 4 air shafts of the pyramid point precisely to the key stars of the old empire as seen from Giza in this year. The alignment of the pyramids of Giza on the ground matches perfectly the alignment of the constellation of Orion as seen in the sky from Giza relative to the Nile as an earthly representative of the Milky Way in the sky. So that's the whole Orion correlation where the 3 stars of Orion's belt are relatively spaced to each other the same way the Giza pyramids are spaced to each other, and that their
orientation
compared to the Nile at a certain point in time matched the sky
with the Milky Way.
The Milky Way to the Orion's belt. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that last time, but yeah, so that's an interesting connection because I didn't hear about the Milky Way connection until now. About how the Milky Way is also in there as a time stamp of the orientation of the sky above Giza at that moment.
Right, because if you're trying to do as above, so below, right?
Exactly.
Then, like, if the rotation of the sky causes the Milky Way to be at an axis compared to the Nile, but then you go back in time, and all of a sudden we have a lock.
Right.
Where the Nile and the Milky Way are in a line, and now the stars and the pyramids are in a line.
Yeah. Precession of the equinox.
10,400 BCE. According to the Earth historian Herodotus, records from the ruined civilization of Atlantis containing electronic technology and other technology of that society were buried in a vault beneath the paws of the Sphinx. The Greek historian wrote that he was told this by some of his friends who were priests of Anu, the Sumerian god, at the Egyptian city of Heliopolis. However, it is highly unlikely that any traces of an electronic civilization would be allowed to be left intact on Earth by the old empire prison system administrators. This is interesting to me because I don't know if this is actually true. Like, do we actually have from Herodotus speculation of stuff beneath the Sphinx's paw? Because to my understanding,
I don't know.
The first time we heard something like that was from Edgar Cayce.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Herodotus and anything that.
Yeah, Edgar Cayce being the famous psychic. For those who don't know, so check him out. His interesting stuff.
Very, very interesting.
8,212 BCE. The Veda or Vedic hymns are a set of religious hymns that were introduced into the societies of Earth. They came forward in spoken tradition, memorized from generation to generation. The hymn to the dawn of the child, the hymn to the dawn child, includes the idea called the cycle of the physical universe. The creation, growth, conservation, decay, and death or destruction of energy and matter in a space. These cycles produce time. The same set of hymns describes the theory of evolution. Here's a tremendous body of knowledge which contains a great deal of spiritual truth. Unfortunately, it has been incorrectly evaluated by humans and altered with lies and reversals of fact by priests, which are a booby trap to prevent anyone from using the wisdom to discover a way to escape from the prison planet. If you recall, I think it was earlier in the book where they said that the domain brought the Vedas down.
The domain did.
That might be later, actually, but yeah, I think it's later when they start talking about like the religious wars and stuff.
Yeah, no, we haven't talked about that yet. Yeah. But so the domain is not some benevolent force in a sense. They are actors. Maybe they can still be benevolent.
Yeah,
they're not completely hands off.
From their perspective, they're bringing like a true spirituality, but then the old empire is bringing like false spirituality that's meant to confuse people. Right. And then for the true spiritualities that exist, they try and penetrate and confuse them.
Right.
But yeah, the domain is basically claiming.
They're claiming that they're bringing a new type of religion.
They're claiming responsibility for like the Vedas specifically.
Okay.
8050 BCE. Destruction of the old empire home planet government in this galaxy. So it wasn't until 8050 BCE
that they actually destroyed it. Yeah.
Destroyed the home planet. Yeah. This was the end of the old empire as a political entity in the galaxy. However, the vast size of the old empire will take many thousands of years for the domain to conquer completely. The inertia of the political, economic, and cultural systems of the old empire will remain in place for some time to come. However, remnants of the old empire space fleet in the solar system of Earth were finally destroyed in 1230 AD. In addition to operatives of the old empire who run the Earth prison operation, there were other beings from the old empire who came to Earth. Since Earth was no longer under the control of the old empire after the defeat by the domain, there was no police force to control military renegades, space pirates, miners, merchants, and entrepreneurs who came to Earth to exploit the resources of the planet for personal gain and many other nefarious reasons. So once the domain capital planet goes down, people are coming to Earth to exploit it for whatever they can.
Because they didn't immediately enact any sort of control over it.
Well, because the Earth is not the domain capital, right? Like the domain capital is off somewhere else in the galaxy, right?
Yeah. So when they destroyed the old empire,
the domain takes out the old empire. Now other citizens of the old empire who maybe have some resources, they come to Earth, probably lots of other places, right? It's one of these things like when the USSR went down, people were selling off weaponry and whatnot. Things owned by the USSR to other countries to make a buck as the ship sank, right?
Yeah, and it, like from Star Wars, after the Empire fell, what was the
Republic fell.
New Order.
Oh, after the Empire fell.
After the Empire, the New Order started to start to take control over the assets of the Empire, and act as a pirate. Basically, going around and swallowing up all of the resources that the old empire had.
Right.
It's interesting.
For example, the history of Earth, according to the Jewish people, describes the Nephilim. Chapter 6 of the book of Genesis describes the origin of the Nephilim. Now it came about when men began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves, whomever they chose. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old men of renown.
Yeah, the old men of renown.
The ancient Jewish people who wrote the history book called the Old Testament were slaves, herders, and gatherers. Any modern technology, even a simple flashlight, would seem astounding and miraculous to them. They attributed any unexplainable phenomenon or technology to the workings of a god. Unfortunately, this behavior is universal among all Isbis who have been given amnesia and cannot remember their own experiences, training, technology, personality, or identity. Obviously, if these were men and they mated with earth women, They were not sons of God. They were Isbis who inhabited biological bodies in order to take advantage of the political situation of the old empire, or simply to indulge in physical sensation. They set up small colonies of their own on Earth beyond the reach of the police and tax authorities.
Dude, I was going to say that might be the initiation of this ruler class. This
that's interesting,
because this Nephilim that are the sons of gods and the sons of the mothers of men. Like, they are obviously human, but they have some sort of innate or unnatural ability that we don't have, and it's the memory. Memory is the ability.
Right.
The understanding of the old technologies and the understanding of the being an Isbi is this great power that they had over the rest of the population.
Interesting. Coincidentally, one of the most serious crimes an Isbi could commit in the old empire was to violate income tax regulations. Income taxes were used as a slavery mechanism and as punishment in the old empire. The slightest error in a tax report made an Isbi untouchable, followed by imprisonment on Earth.
Man, imagine this entire story was made to prevent people from causing doing tax fraud.
Yeah,
that would be way too meta.
All right, cool. We're pretty much at 2 hours. It looks like the next chunk is a little we could probably get through it, but yeah. Do you want to do that? Do one more chunk, or you want to call it?
Let's just call it for tonight. I think we'll go and do some more of this chapter on the next episode.
Yeah, hopefully we can finish out this chapter. But yeah, this is a cool chapter. I like this whole format where they're calling out dates.
Yeah, and then explaining it a little bit more and
yeah, it gives you a sort of narrative in your head that you can kind of follow.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
It makes me want someone to make a movie about it or a TV show about it, right?
Please, somebody do that if you're listening.
It would be rad.
Oh, that'd be so awesome. I'd definitely watch it. I'd probably watch it a lot of times, not just once.
Yeah. So whoever's listening who happens to have massive Hollywood money and connections.
Or hey, nowadays use AI and you can create it yourself with a couple of buddies and some software.
Yeah, if you're good at it.
If it's good, I'll watch it.
For sure.
All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us and listening to another episode of Duality Check, and another segment or another episode on alien interviews. You guys can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you guys find any of your podcasts. If you want our video content, if you want to see us while we're talking, go to YouTube or Rumble. Like, subscribe, comment anywhere you watch us. It'd be very helpful to get the word out. And we want to get people involved and have some conversations about this stuff. And
yeah, and I think I said this in the last show, but or maybe it was the one before that, but we got one bad review on iTunes. So if y'all could help us out and hook us up with some more decent reviews on iTunes if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or any podcast platform.
Very helpful.
Yeah, give us a rating, hopefully better than 1 star.
Hopefully that guy was just having a bad day.
The rating helps us get discovered by other people, and it helps Apple to recommend our podcast to other people. So if you can help us out with that, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
And if you want to be up to date on when we're posting our episodes, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. X, we don't really post much on there, but we'll start doing a little bit more if we can. We'll start just posting little blurbs and this and that
I think I'm just going to change my personal profile to be Dean Duality Check, and then you can have one that's Drew Duality Check, and then maybe we just use those.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe we just use the official Duality Check one to just post episodes and stuff.
Yeah, and then we can actually do our individual posting or what stuffs we're interested in each week. But yeah,
we
that's a
can
good idea.
The podcast one for stuff. Yeah.
And Greg, we're still working on Discord. I want to get that up. I also don't want to just get it up for one person to join. So
yeah, if you
guys are interested, please let us know because I'd like to get that going. Yeah, so
even if it's just me, you, and Greg in Discord, like that would still be fun.
Yeah, it would be fun. Yeah, no, that's true. No slight to you, Greg. I'm just saying. Appreciate you all hanging out with us, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.
All right, guys. Bye.
Peace.